So Truth Freedom says Lyft did drivers dirty this Sunday. There was a nationwide glitch, possibly from a cyber attack on the driver's app, that wasn't allowing drivers to see their earnings nor cash out their money. That's going to be the first topic we talk about once we get into the news stories. He also says the issue has been fixed. Now drivers have to wait 2 days for their money to be transferred to their bank account. Seen some people already complaining that, now their rent's behind because of this. I don't know. I guess a lot of rent is due on the first. I don't even know what the repercussions are for not paying rent on the first anymore. But usually there's some leeway. But money's money. When you earn it, you should be able to get it. As far as Lyft and Uber go, because that's how they structure their business. What's up, Ron? Ron is always in here. Ron says, I concur with Truth. Lyft 100% dropped the ball and should have glitch to happen. So disappointing. I've seen this glitch a couple times. This is the worst it's ever been. Like, I've seen certain things not load sometimes. Sometimes my GPS might mess up. Sometimes it won't show my earnings. Like, I've seen small parts of these things happen at once, but last night was truly the worst I've ever seen. But because I've been driving so long and because I knew that eventually it would be fixed, I just continued on. I hope no one quit driving because they saw that glitch. Nab88 says, shout out to you, Tristan. Thank you. I appreciate it, sir. Sam Lee says, what's up? I single app roadie. That's a mistake. Unless you have a pickup truck, I think you should be doing more than that. Even beyond roadie, even if you have a pickup truck, you should be figure out the best way to utilize what you have, everything. You could get banned on roadie, right? You could find something better than roadie. Just make sure you're doing multiple things. Michelin 80K mile all season tires are the best. When I go to the tire shop, I get the cheapest tires. I'm not gonna lie. Mine are 30,000 miles rated. And the reason I get the cheapest miles, not because I'm being a cheapskate, it's because I get like tires. I get nails in my tires very, very often. Now, I am capable of fixing them myself, right? I have the plug kit. I've plugged up several tires. I've gotten tires go bad, and I'll fix it in less than an hour at like 3 a.m. I love it. But the reality is you can only have so many plugs in a tire. And then if you get a nail on your sidewall, your tire is done, right? No matter how many miles, unless there's like warranties I'm not aware of, and that's possible. There could be some fantastic warranties I'm just not aware of. That's what it is for me. I'd rather get the cheapest thing because I've never gone the full life of a tire without having a nail in it. Like right now I have a nail in my tire and I could plug it. I could look for it and I could plug it. And maybe I'll do that to make it last a little longer until my treads start wearing. But I'm just so worried about buying a more expensive tire just to have to get it replaced if a nail hits it wrong. So that's kind of what my issue is. Ooh, William, I see you got the early access and priority. Thank you. I appreciate the support. We got a good amount of comments. Hold on. All right. Ron says, I got no resolve on why my 2021 Sentra isn't a comfort. The comfort vehicle, I realize it's pretty arbitrary. I don't know how they decide what they decided. And I think they're doing a bad job. And I think it won't be very, I have a couple of videos like in the pipeline, like real scripted edited videos in the pipeline. I think I'm going to do a deep dive into that. It's like look into why certain vehicles are comfort or not comfort. I'm going to see what I can like really dig up and try to make a video on it because I don't understand how they're doing that. It says, I was doing Uber Eats and DoorDash. That's also really good for that time for like New Year's. I can't drive for rideshare right now. I hear you, man. Lyft and Uber need to realize if we only stop the country, we'll have a problem. That's true. And I was talking to some drivers. They always talk about like striking for like, in a couple of hours or like, a day or something. Like turn your apps off on Valentine's. It's supposed to be a strike on Valentine's Day. It's not enough. If I'm currently working on a video, I have like half the script written where I'm comparing the actors and writers strike that happened last year to like what we do. The actors and writers literally gave up pay for like, I think it was like about 6 months, 4 months, maybe some number between 4 and 6 months. They gave up their pay. They did nothing. They said, listen, if you don't increase our pay, give us better benefits and give us like royalties for streaming services, we're not going to do anything. And they got what they wanted because they were willing to hold out. Now that's going to be harder for rideshare drivers because one, when you're a rideshare driver, you typically don't pick to be one. Let's be real. It's usually a transition period, something you fall into, something you plan on doing, and you fall into it because you're not doing well financially, right? It's what it is, right? It was the truth. It's the truth for me. I used it. It's not that I wasn't doing well. I purposely decreased my income. I went from becoming a district manager. I said, all right, let me lower my bills, live on less than I make, in order so I can try to go to school. And then I ended up here on YouTube somehow. But people who are like in rideshare, they can't afford to strike that long. They can't afford to turn their apps off that long. If they want significant change, they will need a widespread boycott that causes regular people every day to be late for work, to miss getting to work to not have like, there needs to be outrage, right? There needs to be large scale outrage that causes their stock to tumble. Like, sure, these current like boycotts and strikes, things like that, they do great for getting media attention, and that's fine. There are things that happen because of that. That's good. Keep it up. But if you truly want to make an impact, you have to be able to get people to turn their app off for a long period of time. But that's really hard because we can't unionize. So we can't have any collective bargaining, or we can't say, all right, a union says we can't work, then we don't work, right? Even with certain unions, their union dues, what it goes towards is like strike pay, right? If you guys go on strike, we will pay a percentage of your wages until we get what we want. That encourages more of that. Rideshare doesn't have that. And so like, if people aren't willing, like the driver I was talking to, she was just worried. She's like, nah, we can't strike and like have a negative impact on customers because like that's not who we're trying to get at. And I agree with you, but the customers is like, if customers can't get to work, they're not paying Uber and Lyft are going to feel that. Like, that's the only way you can have like a large scale like impact on something. It can't just be for a day, but drivers can't afford that. So people use it for their everyday lives. Yep. Sam Lee, San Diego has Prop 22. Yeah, I wish I had Prop 22. It'd be great. I'd make even more money. Ron deleted the message. Ron says $4.50 per ride. Dude needs to donate some plasma and more. Yes, that's terrible. Unless if you make $4.50 per ride, but you're making like $35 per hour, that's fine, right? I'm not knocking the per ride amount. It's the per ride amount plus working like 12 hours just to make like what, 100? No, he said $90. There's something not adding up. He's either declining rides that he should be taking, or he's just sitting at the airport. That's probably why they had a strike at the airport. Sam Lee foreclosure. Oh my God, bro, I can't imagine. Just the type of person I am. If something's not working for me, like my car had to go to the shop for like a month. I'm working at like Wendy's. I'm doing something. I'm getting the quickest job first, and then I'm getting a better job later. Like, not me. I'm not that type of person. Ron says California laws are a little different here than, yes, California laws. A little is an understatement. I can't even begin to understand. Like, I think California's a beautiful place. I think that it is poorly run. I'm not going to get too deep into politics. It's predominantly Democrat, and I predominantly lean Democrat with certain things, and I lean Republican with other things. I vote based off of issues, not necessarily vote off of people. And I think that is the worst ran state in the entire nation, like period. I want to live in Vegas, which is a Democrat state. It borders, it's in between, but I want to live in Vegas because it's close enough to California without being California. So I can go and enjoy the nice parts of California without paying the taxes, and how it's ran. It's just not great. And I don't want to be there. And yeah, ugh. William, I appreciate you for the early access and priority. Ron says it's a $300 maximum fare here in Charleston. Yeah, I don't think I've ever made more than $300 on a long trip. I think that's right, which is why I said it. At the time of me mentioning it, I don't think there should be a cap. Like, if someone wants to drive to New York, I'll do it. You pay the right amount of money, I'll do it. I've done it for free for myself, of course. But yeah, I don't understand why there's a cap. There shouldn't be a cap. I've never been tipped 50 cents. At that point, I'll take it. But what I really want to say is that point, don't even tip me. But I'll take it. I'll take everything that just happened. All right. Ron says, you never know if those $5 rides for a 4-mile ride could impress the rider enough to tip you to make up the difference. It happens a lot of times in Charleston. People who don't know the area well, they won't even look at how far our destination is. They'll just put it into their Lyft. We'll just Lyft there. And then, it was a quick ride. And when I'm not comfortable doing it yet, but one of my friend drivers, Levi, he does some stuff on Twitter and on YouTube. He says he literally asks passengers for tips. It feels weird to do that. I think what I might try doing, and I'm still working up the courage to do it, is I'm not going to say, hey, can I have a tip? I'm going to be like, as they're leaving the car, be like, hey, just remember, tip is always appreciated, right? I feel more comfortable saying it, like laying it down that way. But I do think that it will increase my tip rate. I'm going to try it. Charvel Gaming says, I agree. I believe that drivers may be set in his ways. I drive in San Diego a few days a week, and it's easy to make $200 to $300 per day. Thank you for co-signing that. When you drive matters, how you drive matters, your strategy matters. If you're not making money, you got to switch it up. And the switch up isn't boycotting. Like, if you want to boycott, or if you want to like strike and join those things, do it. Like, things happen because of that. Don't do it at your own financial expense. Just don't. William Mills, do you share your spreadsheet? Yeah, it's you should see it once you sign up to be a member. There, depending on which one you picked, you have to have picked the second level, the $9.99 level, and then there's a link where you can request access. And then once I'm done, I'll check the access for that, and then I'll just approve. Panama 310 says they have no rules to govern how they go about doing rideshare. So yes and no, right? I like looking at New York City and how they're doing things. They have what they call the Taxi and Limousine Commission, which is a government establishment that kind of like does the like studies and like looks at how things should be for like the taxi companies. It existed before rideshare. When rideshare came out, they kind of rideshare and the TLC kind of fought a little bit. But then to modern day, I'm working on this story too, where I kind of like backtrack into this. Modern day, they rideshare is covered under the TLC as well, right? So there are restrictions, right? There are things you have to do to drive rideshare in New York City because of that. You have to get a TLC plate, but they fight on behalf of, not necessarily on behalf of drivers. They make sure everything is fair. They make sure that the government isn't doing too much. They make sure that Uber and Lyft isn't doing too much it's mainly to protect the passengers and the drivers. So they're like an intermediary body in between Uber and Lyft and the government, right? So because rideshare drivers technically are independent contractors, we can't unionize, right? So we can't have an establishment of these collective people who go out and fight for us. But in New York City, because they have the TLC Commission has been fighting on behalf of rideshare drivers. So they recently sued Uber and Lyft, and Uber and Lyft lost, which is causing them to make some big changes in 2024 and how like driver pay is. Like they don't call it a minimum wage, but they set a minimum floor. They don't have to have a minimum wage because we're not independent contractors. So they call it a minimum floor wage. So we would, in my video, I explored the idea that if we want to have a significant change, we need to have something similar to the TLC on a national level. I think that's the best way, since we're not classified as employees. We like California and Lyft classified employees twice, and then it got revoked. So now everyone's independent contractor, even though Prop 22 gives California employees employee like benefits. You're still classified as an independent contractor, which I'd rather be an independent contractor. For my personal sake, I'd rather be an independent contractor. If you're an employee, they might change the structure of how it works. And trust me, you don't want that. The reason why we're not working for someone is because we enjoy the lifestyle of an independent contractor. So I do think something like the TLC would be the best middle ground. Oh man, I don't want to butcher your name. Artemisia Lore. Let me know if I got that right or wrong. And then if I got it wrong, spell it out how I should have pronounced it. I'm gonna remember it. I cashed out and it disappeared from my payouts. I saw that. I saw someone say that. No email with the deposit, nothing in my bank account. I saw like I'm in a couple of Facebook Uber and Lyft groups. If you're not in one, go find one for your city and go join the national one. There's like 2 of them. You'll know which one's the better one based off of how many posts it has. But I was looking at one for Charleston, and they said the exact same thing. So I've decided I'm gonna let my money stay in there. I know that in a day or two, Lyft is gonna like do deposits, and we'll see. Take screenshots, guys. Like take screenshots of how much money you've earned. Try not to cash out right now. There is a problem going on. Thank you for reminding me about that problem. Ron says strikes won't work for me. I rideshare because I want to drive, not because I have to drive. That's a great place to be. The lifestyle you live when you do something you want and not because you do something because you have to is completely different. Like I'm not debt free yet, but I did pay off my car. And the mentalities I have when scenarios arise, like my check engine light came on. And for those of you who might missed it earlier, it might've been just because my gas cap wasn't on properly. Maybe that might be it. But even if it's not it, I still had peace of mind knowing that, okay, even if my engine were to blow up right now, I don't have to worry about paying like a monthly payment on my car. Because if your car blows up, you still got to pay for it with the bank. That's just one thing that, it kind of changes. So always try to put yourself in a position where you're doing what you want because you want to do it and not because you have to do it. He probably is an airport buzzard. Ron says, most I've made on a ride to Charleston to Brunswick, GA, got $290 and $75 tip. That's pretty good. I had that trip pop up once, but I missed out because I think I was too far from it. But I had that same exact trip. It was going to like close to the airport, not Brunswick. It's actually going to Florida. It's going to Jacksonville. Trevor says, while I would love Uber to pay more for trips, there's still ways to maximize your earnings. Learn where surges are happening, for example. There's several hotspots in San Diego. Take those short rides. Short rides will surge to fill the bonus quota. I completely agree when you mention people must be open-minded and trying new strategies. I agree with you. All right. There's this thing, right? It kind of comes from like church, but ignore the church part of it. It's like where it says like, I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look up the church version and then I'll like explain why it doesn't matter whether you're a church person or not. I think it's called the Prayer of Serenity. That it says, God grant me the sincerity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And then it even goes on further to say, So I'll break down what this means. So it's like, yes, Uber and Lyft do shitty things, 100% do shitty things, right? I don't have a direct control over that. Even if I go out there and I boycott them, I don't have a direct control over what they do. I have a direct control over my strategy and how I make money. That is what I focus on. And I get a lot of hate here on the channel. Sometimes I'll make a whole video focusing on what I have, I can control. And then people will be like, oh, you're just a Lyft Uber show. They think that just because I'm focusing on what I control, that I'm excusing what Uber and Lyft is doing. And it's not that. It's just that I'm the type of person who puts effort into the things he can control. And then I hope that the things that I can control can start to influence the things that I can't. So that's just how I go about life and most of these things. I'm happy that not everyone's like me, because we do need people who are focusing on things that they don't have direct control over. Because it does come back and help us as well. I'm not even gonna front on it. The benefits of people who go on strikes can sometimes come back and raise the whole ocean for all drivers. So I'm not knocking them. I just think that even if you want to go and do strikes or do things that you don't like, try to affect things that you don't have direct control over, you should also, at the same time, it's not a black and white. At the same time, you should be focusing on what you can do to like better the things that you do have control over. Ron says that $290 ride was in 2018. So rates have changed. Yeah, long rides aren't worth it anymore. Brunswick, GA, what is that? It's like 2 hours to Savannah, maybe like what, an hour and a half? We'll just call it 2 hours, 4 hours, so 8 hours round trip. 8 hours for a $300 ride. That's worth it. That is worth it to me. What is your tip rate percentage? I don't know. I know I did very, very shitty in tips last night. Very bad. But I'm looking to improve that. I'm going to try to improve that. And I will, like every week, at the beginning of the podcast at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to go through my income and I'll keep in mind to like calculate my tip percentage moving forward. Austin says, I was being bold yesterday, asked what Uber was charging, said I'll cancel and give them 10 to 50% off, and did cash Uber rides, made $1,260.16 yesterday. That is dope. There are two things I want to point out to you. One, if you want to do that, make sure you have your business license or your business insurance. Every city is going to be different, but just do it. You don't want to get into an accident and then have that customer sue you, right? You need to protect your finances. And then two, be prepared. Like you can be kicked off the platform for it. However, I assume like most of those people are okay with it. But sometimes Uber, I haven't seen it on Lyft. Sometimes Uber and Lyft will send out people in certain areas to like trying to fake you into it. Or cops will go undercover and try to like catch you doing it if you don't have like your business license. So just be aware of those things. I'm not gonna tell you not to do something. I'm also not gonna tell you that you should continue doing this, but hustle, baby, hustle. Just stay safe out there. Do what you can to protect yourself. Ron says I average 50 to 60% of rides receive tips. Sometimes I do. If it's like I don't know. I didn't receive a lot of tips last night. I don't think that's common for me. Usually I get maybe about 20 to 30%. I'm gonna try a little harder. I don't really try hard enough. Low show says I made $600 yesterday. That's pretty good, man. That's more than I made. How many hours did you drive? And what are you driving? Give me some more information. Give me some room to work on. Law says he made $600 yesterday. He worked from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. That's about what I worked. So shout outs to you. You made way more than I did. You made about double what I made, and I'm proud of you. I love it, man. I love to see people out here making money. With an average of $50,000 a year, it makes no money at all, excluding loans, maintenance, rent, and other living expenses. So to that, I would say I'm on a mission right now to become debt free. Yes, I'm on a mission right now to become debt free. I just paid off my car, and even before then, I was always trying to figure out ways to lower my living expenses. I really calculated that my living expenses, this is before I got married, but they were like $1,200. So I probably will need like $2,500 to pay for everything right now. Both me and my wife's car are paid off. Our mortgage is like $950 a month. We just a modest 2-bedroom house in a decent area. We did get it before the pandemic, so we left out there, and it is appreciating well. So we do well there. But we're on a budget. We have budget meetings every single month. We're aggressively paying off debt. We'll potentially be debt free 100% this year. The problem is, I think people in general, we'll start at people in general, they live above their means, right? And then if we zoom in a little more and we look at rideshare drivers, we have rideshare drivers going out there and getting a Tesla brand new. You can't afford that. Your goal needs to be to lower your expenses, not increase them. What you should have done is you should have gotten a used Prius, right? Like we need to make better decisions every day, like eating out. I was really bad at eating out. Like I got diabetes a year ago. I don't have diabetes anymore, but I got diabetes a year ago. You watch my older videos, I got fat face. I was eating out so much. And then like lately I make sure I pack a lunch, right? I drove along a lot of hours. I took 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, some nuts, and some protein bars from home, some water, and that's what I did. We have to start making better financial choices overall. So like $50,000, it might not go far in New York City or Los Angeles or certain parts of California. I get that, right? I do get that. It's a little harder there. I've lived there. I understand that. But there are things you can do to make it work, right? If you're a single person and you're struggling, you need to go and rent a room in someone's house, not rent an apartment that you can't afford. If you have a family, you might have to like bundle up with another family, like a brother or a sibling, like in a shared space. Like I've even lived outside of America where we're a little more communal than Americans, where it's not uncommon for multiple families living in one house. It's cheaper that way. There are things that we want in life that we go and get that we can't afford. That's causing us to not make money. There's people who they're rolling negative equity of their cars into other cars, and they keep with this perpetual cycle when your goal should just be to get the cheapest thing that can get the job done. And people have a bunch of excuses about why they don't want to do that. I'm not that person, and like we have to make it work because this is reality. And the alternative to it not working will be it not working. So it's like at a certain point, no one's here to save us. And yes, it would be great if Uber and Lyft would pay better. I do think they take too much of a percentage. Like I agree with that. They do have some shady practices, but like even if it's not our fault, it's our responsibility. We got to figure it out. Charvel Gaming says part of the issue is oversaturation. I utilize the Rider app to see where other cars are located. I used to do that. There is oversaturation at play. To that, I would say you just got to find the busiest times to drive. If that means waking up at 3 a.m. I do it. I wake up at 3 a.m. I'll be downtown by 3:30 a.m. I'm taking people to the airport. Like I'll do it. And it's just what it is. I know that we're independent contractors and we want to work when we want to work. But again, the reality is we should be aiming to work the best hours possible. Some of us got kids, some of us can't do it. Some of us got kids, some of us can do it, but don't make the sacrifices to do it. There's a lot that can change from person to person. But again, the outcome of not doing it is like, the outcome of not making enough money is that you're not going to have enough money. You have to figure it out. Have to be creative, and you just have to figure it out. Queen Brown in the building. My favorite Charlotte driver. Tristan and everyone else, try to join Drivers Coast to Coast on our weekly X Space starting at 7 p.m. Yeah, I support that. I love those guys over there. They're very, I usually end about now anyways, so I will be wrapping it up. Usually, even if I'm not over there talking, I'm usually over there and I'm listening. What I like about Drivers Coast to Coast and the creators over there is that it's not the same negative, right? I know if you guys watch Rideshare Professor, this is not like a bad take on him. It's not a negative thing, but he usually focuses on the negative aspects of rideshare, which is fine. We need people who do that in this world. Sometimes we just need people who are, a little more uplifting. I'm somewhere in the middle where, yeah, I'll talk bad about it when it's time to talk bad about it, but I'll also show people how to make more money. We'll focus on that too. But the drivers, the one that they have on X, Twitter, it's called Drivers Coast to Coast. And it's just a couple of drivers who are out there, sharing some good stories, how much they're making, what's going on. And it's refreshing. I like it. I like interacting with those drivers. When I paid off my car, they were there to like congratulate me, really, hype me up. And, sometimes as a content creator, it's just, I feel alone as a content creator. And then what I do is I find other content creators and I feel less alone. But now that I'm starting to find other content creators that are also drivers, that are also positive, I'm starting to enjoy that space a lot. So you guys go check it out. I'll let's see if I can find the link and I'll post it for you guys. We're about to wrap up here. Go to X and then follow me on Twitter. You'll see me in there. Follow me on Twitter. Follow these guys. Drivers Coast to Coast. Here we go. Can't spell. And I might not stay the whole time. I am trying to make $100,000 this year. After I do this, I am going to do some content editing stuff, and then I'm going to go back on that road. I'm grinding. I'm grinding YouTube this year, and I'm grinding Uber and Lyft this year. Let's see. This is Lynn, Drivers Coast to Coast. They're ready to start going. Yeah. So then let me. I don't want to get hit with. Okay. So we'll leave for now. But go check them out. I'm gonna read the comments before I end the stream. Let's see what you guys are saying. Dave says, "How much did you make?" All right. So you might have missed it when I talked about it earlier, but I'll talk about it one more time. I'm gonna show you on the Lyft app, show you on the Uber app, then I'm gonna show you my spreadsheet. I want to show you on the apps just because I don't want to be accused of lying. Anyone can put numbers on a spreadsheet, right? So let me, I have an app on my Windows that allows me to pull up my, the apps on my phone. It's called Windows Link. like phone link. I don't know if you can see, no, you guys can't see it. Here it is. Okay. It just popped up for a second. So this is like phone link. You can see it's connected to my Tristan's Z Fold. It's connected and it pulls up all of my apps that are like on my phone. So I want to show you guys that so you don't think I'm just like making shit up. So it says that I made $1,289.33. That's not the full story. I got a pretty significant, let's go to CL activity down here. We'll go back to yesterday or last week. I only drove one day last week, which this was today. I got a $920 referral bonus. I drove 6 hours, 34 minutes. I'll show you what this works out to in the spreadsheet. It breaks it down automatically, but this is real. You know, this is it. And then I drove a little bit into this morning for like an hour, 16 minutes, $47.57. But then I also drove Uber as well. I like moving around in the app a little bit, so you guys know it's not a screenshot that I edited or something. So you see $99.91. I only drove Sunday. Hour and 19 minutes down here. I'm pointing with my hand, but you guys can't see that. I have over 4 trips. And then what I do is I put it on my spreadsheet. This is a spreadsheet that I made. You can get access to it. You can get access to it by supporting me on Patreon down below. Or if you become a member at the $9.99 level, it's also in the link below. You can get access to this as well. Anything that's in gray is automatically generated. So you put your starting mileage, you put your ending mileage, and you put the purpose of the business. And then I didn't add the referral bonus to this, so I subtracted it. So I added that I made Uber $99.10, Lyft $280.40 over the course of those 6 hours. Per hour is $41 per hour here. Uber, it's $75 per hour. And I put my offline time because I didn't spend the entire time with the apps on. And I also included my like 30-minute break. So if I'm driving somewhere and my apps are off, I track it on my watch so that I can accurately count how much like my hourly pay is. So at the top of the spreadsheet, you see the total, $379.50. You see the amount of hours I worked, 8 hours, 47 minutes, including my offline time. You see the per hour, $43.21. You can see my mileage. I drove 285 miles. My per mile rate, $1.33. I paid $23.25 in expenses. I had to pay $2 to get air because I refused to fix my tire because I'm lazy. I'm sorry. And then I paid $21.25 for gas. What I did was at the beginning of the shift, I filled up the gas. That's not reflected in this, right? I filled up my gas. That's reflected in a different spreadsheet. Whenever I start a shift, I fill up my gas, I drive, and then when I'm done, I fill my tank up again when I'm done driving, so that I know that the $21.25 that it took me to fill my gas, that allowed me to make $379.50, right? It's like what, maybe 6-7% in expenses. I have it to where my expenses are calculated on a per hour basis. It cost me $2.65 per hour to operate my business so far. I don't have things like I don't have a car note. I was about to say car note, but I paid off my car last month. I have insurance that I put in these expenses as they come. Like these are real life expenses. So at the beginning of every live stream, every Monday, 5 p.m. EST, moving forward, I'm going to update you with how much money I made every week, and you'll see more and more expenses added into that. And then I have my tax summary over here. My mileage write-off, this is calculated by multiplying the amount of miles I drove by the standard deduction of 67 cents. 6 cents is the standard deduction for 2024. And then it shows you my taxable income once it subtracts my gross income from the deductible. So a taxable income is $188.55. I put in this tax rate, right? Anything that's gray is automatic. White, you have to do it yourself. My estimated tax rate is about 50%. Google how to figure out your estimated tax rate. It'll be easier to do it once you do your taxes for last year. My estimated taxes, so out of the $379 that I made, right? My estimated taxes is $28.28. And my true net, so we take our gross, we subtract our expenses, and we subtract our estimated taxes, and that gives us the true net. This is the number that no one can take away from us at the end of the day. That's $327.97. Then we calculate the hourly version of your true net, your true hourly, which is how much you're actually walking home with. No one can take that away from you unless you spend it on something you shouldn't. $37.34. It's fun hanging out with you guys. It is now 7:02 p.m. EST. Go and like check out, let me see. I don't know where the tab is. I have so many tabs open. Go check these. This is the comments. Not bad. I did a bunch of short trips, made like 5, 6. That's dope, bro. Let's go. You did better than me. I respect it. I love seeing other people hustle out here. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Some people get mad. I don't. So go over here. Go listen to these guys. It's on Twitter. I'm going to drop a link in chat. Go support these guys. I'll be in there listening. It was fun hanging out with you guys. Look forward to my videos. I drop clips. I try to do one video a day. So if you see videos lined up, that's why. If you want early access to those videos, you can get early access by supporting the channel using the link below. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.